Hey, what's going on people, and guess who's back with another DuckTales analysis video. This time, we're gonna be discussing about the episode The Richest Duck in the World. And you've all waited quite enough, I bet, so let's not waste another second and begin with our analyzing, shall we? Within this episode, it took me a second time admittedly to realize just how greatly important this episode actually was. We have Louie being the main reasoning behind the episode's main conflict, knowing and understanding what it's like being the richest in the world after the events of Glomtails. And Della attempting to send out transmissions to Penumbra only to discover finally that this whole time her messages sent from the moon to the earth was not once received. Also, by the way, I still believe to this day that the old mail Scrooge had ignored during Della's disappearance could have potentially been some of Della's old broadcasts included. But due to his more decrepit state of emotional guilt after losing her, he had already lost faith in her return, and so he buys the post office only to never see the tapes. But those are just my theories on that. However, before we get into the Penumbra and Della's experience with each other when it comes to communication, let's get back on track with Louie basically crowning himself as the richest in the world.
I'm keeping it all so I can be the richest duck in the world!
Yeah, and Scrooge just about says it all. That's basically the nutshell of this episode. Straight from the beginning, we are conveyed with the fact that whoever becomes the wealthiest duck in the world will be forever haunted by a magical being by the name of the Bombi. And as told by its signature riddle,
he cannot be bought, he cannot be fought. Though riches you've got, your life will be fraught until you have earned the one thing you have not.
Who is he?
The Bombi. Good luck, no takebacks!
Which would explain as to why we are soon revealed to know that Scrooge imprisons this creature after even he himself has trouble facing it. Plus, I'm sure that most of you haven't heard of this, but this character is based on an actual one from within the original DuckTales comic, Voodoo Hoodoo, which has an interesting backstory if I do say so myself. Long story short, initially he was named Bombi the Zombie and the human servant of a voodoo warlock by the name of Fula Zula. Anyways, it's then released after the Vultures working for Louie now mentioned that a lot of money is being invested into keeping it under control through the press of a simple button. Wow. So just guess what Louie decides to do next. Ask for Scrooge's help. Nah, I'm just kidding. He just asked the Vultures to just press the button so that way they can lose the funding on that. Plus, let's just get real. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for Louie's ridiculously reckless amount of spending. I mean, the guy spent $100 million in order to get the Ottoman Empire twins to reunite for an episode, buying a golden bust, an emerald footrest, billboards, and yeah, you guys get the point. But I guess still, why didn't the Vultures seriously just at least warn Louie before pressing the button that practically led to his doom? That is unless Scrooge kept it a secret towards them as well, which I doubt. I mean, they seem to be over everything these days. Once Louie takes over Scrooge's position, Scrooge decides to start his very own shoe company again, which ends up being a bust, cause not only do people in Duckburg less commonly wear shoes, but it was his father who truly helped him receive his first customer. But ironically, the first customer this time who does appear for a shoe shine is Gavin, who I'm sure is the most hated character of DuckTales, much like Bendy from Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. And if you don't know who Bendy is, please go and just simply watch clips of that narcissistic, whiny, parasitic, needy little son of... So before we know it, Louie eventually meets up with Scrooge, who just got swindled by a giant Bigfoot thief, while Louie on the other hand is on the run from a Bombi even after escaping on the Sun Chaser, which by the way was also rebranded for Louie's taste. And though the escape didn't work, the execution of Zan Owlson finally quitting her job as an assistant for billionaires worked flawlessly. This girl had every right to be upset, and her rant was perfect.
I quit! Consider this my 2 weeks notice, because I will stay on to train my replacement like a professional!
That's not all while I brought it up though. As it turns out, Zan, out of all of the greedy, insane, and childish billionaires, was the only one of the bunch who truly understood everyone's main error. Lack of humility. Something that was well aligned to the riddle given. The answer was something that you had to earn or else you will be haunted by the zombie for eternity, and the monster itself cannot be fought nor bought. It was almost as if we were given another riddle like the swordsman back in that episode about the ancient lamp.
I'm more powerful than the gods, more evil than the demons. The poor have me, the rich need me. If you eat me, you shall die. What am I? Heroes tougher than you have been stumped by the miners.
Nothing.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing is more powerful than the gods. Nothing more evil than the demons. The poor have nothing, the rich need nothing, and if you eat nothing, you shall perish. Now let me pass.
Anyways, it was a well done lesson for Scrooge as well, because even though he learned to be a much better family man, just like from the episode The Last Crash of the Sun Chaser, personally still one of my favorite episodes to this day, he never truly taught himself to be humbler and admit to not only his own mistakes, but to also ask for help from time to time.
Please, for the safety of your family, admit you cannot fix this.
Nonsense. Nothing bad is going to happen to her.
Her who?
The kids. They'll be thanking us by the time we land.
One may argue that he learned this from within the 87 Cents episode, however I beg to differ. It took until Scrooge nearly went on the brink of insanity to finally listen to his family towards the end. And though it was indeed great character progression, I believe that he was almost there with becoming humble. Both Louie and Scrooge show their humility by washing Bombi's shoes, and I love the symbolism behind it. The one service that made Scrooge the man he is today made him become the better man of tomorrow. But most of all, it truly showed just how selfless of a person they truly were towards the Bombi as they washed his shoes. Also, more importantly, Louie concludes his lesson realizing how being a man of power takes responsibility, and that hard work is the only way to actually acquire and maintain riches. Which reminds me, by the way, I hope Goldie is in the finale or something, because we need her back. Now, the other part of this episode was about Della and her coming to the realization that she was kind of annoying towards Penumbra while on the moon, and that it was all pointed out by none other than Dewey the Do Night host himself.
If only we knew someone with camera equipment, or a TV setup, or...
Oh no.
What did I say?
There's no stopping it now.
Yeah, that's still a thing. Now, one thing I just gotta say, however, is that it's funny how as soon as Penumbra began to warm up to Della, all of a sudden Della has mixed feelings towards Penny after thinking back to her many arguments with her and not being able to keep in touch with her afterwards. Or at least so we thought. At the very end of the episode, we are presented with the shocking revelation of Lunaris's attack on Della and her family. Roll credits. And well, that was pretty much the sum analyzation of the entire episode. Hopefully this finale will live up to the amazing one given to us in season 1, that was Magica's Reign. So without further ado, please continue to support my channel, give this video a like if you enjoyed, and though it will be 2 months late, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already seen the finale by now, I'll go ahead to try to make the video real nice for you guys. Stay awesome, fanatics, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace!